I'm going with you. You got one job. You bring the beer. I'll get the bobbers and the worms. I'll be right over here.
Hi, I'm Rick, and welcome back. This weekend we're going to make some drunk chicken. Now, some people call it beer can chicken, drunken chicken, beer butt chicken. There's probably as many names to call this as there are ways to make it. Now, we're going to do a little twist today. We're going to do a kind of a cross between a Southern and a St. Louis style. Now, first thing you want to do is get a rub. You can put your own together if you want to, or you can go with a standard. For this recipe, this is one of the best ones I have found on the market. This is Durkee chicken and rib rub. Now, what I really like about this one is that it's got just the right amount of spice. It's not too hot, it's not too mild, and the consistency is really good for rubbing our chicken. So, let's go ahead and get started here. Now, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and get your beer, open her up, pull the tab off the top, and pour half of it out. And it doesn't have to be exactly half. You can, of course, estimate just a little bit. Now, once we get this down to about half, this is for cooking, and this one's for drinking. Now, with our beer, a lot of people just take the beer, put it up inside the chicken. Now, we're going to do a little bit of twist on this. First thing we want to do is we want to make sure that when the beer starts to steam, we can get as much steam out of the can into the chicken as possible. And to do that, what you want to do is just take your little can opener and just poke you a couple extra holes in the top. That'll allow a lot more of the beer to run out and get up inside the chicken. Now, I've got these pre-measured out, a couple of tablespoons here. Take you a tablespoon of your rub and slowly put it in the beer. If you put it in too fast, it will foam up all over your counter. And that's another reason you want to go ahead and take half the beer out, because if you try to take this and put it inside of a full beer, you're going to be spending about 20 minutes cleaning your counter. Trust me on this one, I know. So, once we get this in there, about as good as we can get it. Alright, that's good. Now, what you want to do with your chicken here, this one's already been cleaned, rinsed, and patted dry with a load of paper towels. Now, what you want to do is just lightly brush the outside skin with just a little bit of vegetable oil. You just want to get it on thin, and this is going to help the skin start to crisp up. Once we get our rub on it and get it on the grill, real thin. Alright, got that on there. Now, just want to take and be liberal with our rub, and as in most things, I'm not actually going to rub it right now. Just kind of get it all over the top. And if you notice, I got a big skewer here in the chicken, and this makes it easier to actually turn over, so you don't have to really touch the chicken down there so it don't stick. So you don't have to get your hands all covered in chicken juice, because you all know how salmonella can be sometimes. And set that in there, and we're just going to do the same thing to this side. Get it covered up, a little bit of oil, not too much, just enough to help it crisp up. Now do the same thing this side, get it just coated real nice, and most of it's going to fall off once you get it up on the can, and then we'll probably go ahead and put a little bit more on. That's good. All right, get our plate ready, get our can situated. Now here's the part you are not going to be able to stop touching this chicken. Try not to touch it too much, because you'll knock the rub loose. Go ahead and get this just settled right down here on top of the beer can. And I'm trying not to make too much of a mess. Real clean. I know she's got to clean up a lot of my mess from time to time. All the time. It's our baby queen. And a little bit of loose may have fallen off. Just go ahead and get it back on there. Alright, now. Alright, so we got our chicken all covered. Now, one of the other things that you're going to want to do, and as you see, a lot of this rub is falling off as you move it around. You want to take about a tablespoon of this rub and get it down inside the neck cavity. Get it down in there. Little watered up piece of aluminum foil. Stick it right down in here, because when that beer starts to steam, we want to keep as much of it into the chicken as we possibly can. And if it starts to come a little bit loose, you can rub it. Of course, most of it's going to come off on your hands if you try to rub it in. Of course, we use a little bit here and there. And don't worry about it. It's going to be spotty. It's always going to be a little bit spotty here and there, especially if you go touching it after you get the rub on. It's going to come off and make dry spots. So try not to touch it once you get it on. Alright, let me go ahead and wash my hands and stuff, and we'll be ready to take her outside and put her on the grill. Alright, so we got our grill up here at about maybe 325, which is about where we want it. Yeah, it's coming up good. Let's give it a quick scrape, make sure it's nice and clean. Now what you do is take your whole chicken and set her right in the middle. Now I've got all the burners on at this moment in time, which I'm going to change here in a second. One thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to shroud about the top 1/3 of this thing, because the top will start to crisp faster than the sides of the bottom. Just loosely put that on there a little bit. Close her up. Indirect heat. We're going to turn our middle burners off. Now try not to lift the lid if you possibly can, because you got to remember, if you looking, you ain't cooking. This is going to cook for about 1.5 to 2 hours. Rule of thumb is about 20 to 25 minutes per pound, and she's about a 4.5 pound chicken. So there we go. We're pretty much done. We'll see you guys in about 2 hours. So it's been about 2 hours. Let's see what we've got going on here. Oh yeah, looks like she's crisped up really, really good. Go ahead and get this off. Oh yeah. Now the way you want to check your chicken to make sure it's done, take your thermometer. You need to check the breast. Breast needs to be at least 160, and we are at 162. That's nice. Check the thigh without going into the bone. Let's check. There we go. Oh, look at all them juices. And we should be at least 180. 183. All right. So she is done. Now, one of the best ways to get your chicken off, there is no real big trick to this, but if you try to lift this chicken straight off the beer can, it's going to be a mess. You're going to be pulling the skin off and all that. She won't crisp up right. Best way to do it really is to take her, get her loose, take your little pocket knife, punch a little hole in the bottom of the beer can. Let what left of the beer run out. Then let's go and turn our grill off. Go ahead and turn her sideways. Lay it right down. This way to do it. And just pull this straight out of the chicken. Can holder and all. Just get it right out of there. There we go. Now take a couple little lifters. Pull that aluminum out. Oh yeah, that's steamed up good. Oh yeah, she's looking good. You get her on a platter. There we go. Now, just like with any kind of cut of meat, you always want to wait at least 10 minutes before you cut into this, because the juices are still flowing around and you're not going to want to cut into it. Even with a steak, let it rest for a couple of minutes. So I'm going to come back out here and clean this up, take this inside, and we'll go ahead and we'll be ready to dig into this here in just a few minutes. Alright, so now our chicken has rested for about 10 minutes. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh yeah, look at that juice coming out. Let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. Now, as you can see, a lot of the rub has caramelized and it has really coated this chicken up. And once we get through this, it should be nice and tender, where once we get through this skin, we should be able to just almost pull it apart. Just like that. There we go. Look at that. Oh yeah. There we go. Still a lot of heat coming off of this puppy. There we go. Tell me you ain't never seen a thigh come off like that. So anyway, there we go. There's drunk chicken with a little St. Louis, a little southern twist. So for your next weekend, go ahead and throw this together. Everybody will be talking about it for weeks. So until then, we'll talk to y'all later.
I'll get the bobbers and the worms. I'll be right over here. Yeah. Cause I'm Joe Man out of Go Vision. If you wanna go with me, don't bring no sissy camping equipment. Cause we're camping just for free, good Lord. Bring the beer, mother. Don't show up unless you're half hour late. Cause if you was a half hour late, Pinhead sissy, you're gonna be there half hour before me. Cause I'm gonna be an hour late. What's that? Alright, shut this thing down. I need a break.